Nice. Music Sucks, episode 40. The Painters EP plus Mountain Game single.
So this one's weird because this is our first EP.
Yeah.
It's our first single.
On it too.
So we're going to have to figure it out as we go. But I just scored the EP. I also scored the EP including the single.
I did that too.
We can talk about it. But really, the episode is on the Painters.
Yep, and there's
That'll
a bonus track.
The thumbnail.
Yeah.
That'll be
I think
our main scores.
We'll do a mini Mountain Game thumbnail.
We got to discuss both covers for sure. But
yeah.
And I mean, the main scores that will go up will just be on the Painters.
Yeah.
Because we really do albums. But
no.
This is a shorty, so you might as well throw in a song that was released not on any album ever, and it's the same stuff, really. It's the same type of sound, so you bunch them. Yep. I figured that's a good whole experience right there, getting all those. So we'll go fourth. Onward.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant like fourth.
With
score guesses.
So I'll guess for you probably. Damn, this is probably the hardest guess I'll ever have to make. You were into their Merriweather Post Pavilion stuff, but probably not a whole lot.
Songs.
But you liked what you heard.
Yeah.
And I get it. That's probably their most famous album, but this stuff isn't too out there, I don't think. I would say probably in the 60s. Why do we always laugh at that?
I didn't usually laugh. It's just how hesitant and like trepidatious. That's totally not a word.
I don't know. You could have gotten away with it. I wouldn't have said anything.
You had a lot of hesitancy. Let's just go with that.
I don't know. This is the hardest one for me to guess.
I don't think that's mathematically possible given there's 4 songs.
What, 60?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be in increments of like 25?
No. So I was actually thinking about that the other day, like all the possible scores.
Is this including the EP or no?
Ooh, including the EP, I would probably say 80.
Okay.
But it is interesting because given a certain amount of songs, there's only a set possible number of scores that we can get.
So with 4 songs, I'm gonna just cheat.
Well, let me look at the probability because that will tell us something.
And I'm gonna just score what I think you're gonna have as a score and see what number it comes out to. I'm gonna give you. Whoa, that's a way too high of a score, I think. But if you chose this EP, there must be a reason. I guess it's not as hard to make a few songs good than a lot of songs good. But I'm going to guess you really like this, hence why you picked it. And I'm going to say that you love most of the songs, which would put it, I'm going to go with like a 170. That would imply you love most of it. Maybe there's one likable in there. Maybe a couple likables and a favorite. Something like that.
Okay. Was that with or without Mountain Game?
That was with.
Okay. Let's talk about first time hearing then.
Couple of days ago.
Can you put this away?
This
is okay? Okay.
It's just a wavelength converter that is not on the score that we're doing.
My first time hearing was probably back in like 2017, 2018-ish.
That's crazy, bro.
First got into Animal Collective around my senior year and went through all their stuff pretty quick. I liked them a lot, so I went through all their stuff pretty quick, and this came up, and that was in there.
You happy that it came up?
Why not?
Why not?
What about you? Obviously, maybe just 10 minutes ago, maybe?
I literally finished writing my notes like 10 minutes ago because we're doing 4 episodes this week, so we've been crunch timing.
Well, when's the first time you heard it?
Friday. I've heard every song
like
4 or 5 times.
Okay. I mean, it's pretty short. I mean, it's like 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Painters, I guess we'll get into artist stuff, right?
Laughing and then asking my friend, have you ever felt like really bonkers, kind of bonkers, really bonkers, kind of bonkers?
Okay, so Animal Collective is an American experimental psychedelic electronica band formed in Baltimore, Maryland. It consists of A.V. Terror. So this is going to be important because they all have two names.
Panda Bear.
So A.V. Terror, who's David Portner. Panda Bear, who's Noah Lennox. Those are the two, well, I'll get into it. Geologist, who is Brian Waits, and Deacon, who is Josh Dibb.
I love how none of them are animals except for one guy.
I'll get into that as well.
Okay.
The band is known for their looping, droning, sampling, vocal harmony, and sound collage-esque
Whoa.
sound. AllMusic's Fred Thomas suggests that the group defined the face of independent experimental rock during the 2000s and 2010s.
Rock, huh? They were more rock oriented back in the day?
I don't know why he said rock, but not really.
Probably meant indie-tronica.
The Lennox, who's Panda Bear.
Oh.
Noah Lennox is Panda Bear. And Dib, who's Deacon. I don't know why I said the, but
Who's the best? Rate them, rank them based on their solo stuff.
solo stuff?
Yeah. Do it, bro. Come on.
I'm not doing that.
Why?
Because that's way too...
Are they all good?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
It's
Except
not like
for
a weekly?
Geologist. I've never heard any of his solo stuff.
What?
But
Come on, get on it, bro.
I don't know if he really has any.
Yes, he does. Dancy Manatee from 2001.
That's not solo.
Oh, you're right.
That's just a regular album by Animal Collective.
No, it's Panda Bear, Geologist, and AV. It's just not.
Yeah, so I'll get into it. So Lennox,
Deacon.
who's Panda Bear, and Dib, who's Deacon. How do you want me to say them throughout the
Their
episode?
stage names, please.
Okay, because I don't have that written, so I'll go by stage name. So Panda Bear and Deacon met in elementary school in the early 90s and were good friends. A.V. Terror and Geologist met in school and started playing music at age 15, so around high school to middle school. They claimed their schools were private and provided a more complete education by emphasizing creativity. They highly valued their high school and middle school experiences.
That's cute, just like you. You loved
A.V.
your
Terror and Geologist met Deacon in high school and started a band called Automine with two school friends who are unrelated to this episode. It was around this time that they reported having their first LSD experience and began to
Whoa, when? In high school?
Yeah.
Okay, that's normal.
Began to
Yes.
make a lot of music and really improvising while playing. They once set up a show with 4 different bands, but all the bands were just different formations of them. Like different lineups. They love
They
to
just
cycle through
switched up
lineups and
and-
make music with each other and leave somebody out or make
Oh, I
solo
see.
stuff.
I thought
They
you were saying,
love to
like, they
do.
just switched instruments. You on vocals this
They
time,
pretty
I got
much
drums.
do that too. They
Oh,
all
okay.
play like all the instruments, so almost. But they then started to discover bands like Can and Silver Apples and more
Oh,
local
wow,
groups.
okay.
It was around this time that Deacon introduced Panda Bear to A.V. Terror and Geologist. They all started mixing and mashing with each other while making music. They made music with all 4 of them, sometimes 3 of them, duos, solo stuff as well. They swapped ideas and shared records. They're just weird in the way that they do all this. But in 1997, Panda Bear and Deacon went to college in Boston, while A.V. Terror and Geologist attended university in New York. They did not like school at all, and all 4 returned to Maryland every summer to make music together. A.V. Terror started working on his first real album and asked Panda Bear to play drum machine on it. The album later would be finalized and released as Animal Collective's first album under the name A.V. Terror and Panda Bear.
How old were they at this point?
College.
Okay.
The album was titled Spirit They've Gone, Spirit They've Vanished, which I think is an amazing album, but they just remastered it too. But Geologist hosted a noise show at Columbia University's radio station where he and A.V. Terror borrowed music records from, like they borrowed them from that radio station studio. And they listened to them all night at Geologist's dorm room, which rapidly broadened their musical horizons. In summer of 2000, the basis for all of Animal Collective's music was created as they intensely listened to and made music together. All records were eventually stolen from Geologist's car which was packed of his things from his apartment as he prepared to move.
That's messed up.
Those records probably sounded awesome, but around
gone
this time,
forever?
yeah, they were stolen, so probably tossed in the trash by some bum idiot. Around this time, A.V. Terror had class with Eric Copeland,
Oh,
the leader of
that
the
guy.
band Black Dice, and they eventually became good friends. The members of Animal Collective and Black Dice began playing shows together, and they began wearing masks, which became a staple of their shows in the
Really?
2000s. They eventually stopped wearing masks, thinking it would distract from the music, but Geologist continued to wear a headlamp to see his synth and electronic equipment in the dark.
Oh, well, that doesn't help.
This and the fact that he had a Bachelor of Arts in Environmental Science is where he got the name Geologist at the time.
What?
I'll bet it was all too local of shows for stuff to really be popping up.
Wow, okay.
Black Dice took them on a tour throughout this era, and they recorded many albums and live shows in the early 2000s. Their first big tour had many problems. Geologist was accepted into graduate school in Arizona, and their tour bus broke down a bunch. They were all pretty tired of each other and needed a break from each other before the tour even ended. It was around this time as well that their record label would not let them use the name A.V. Terror, Panda Bear, Deacon, and Geologist, so they adopted a more encompassing name, Animal Collective. They felt like this name gave them the freedom to work in different lineups, such as duos or trios, and do solo work as dictated by the project and their mood. The label was very relaxed with them. Todd Hyman from Car Park Records helped them found the label Paw Tracks, which gave them much creative freedom and experienced people at the helm, because he was very experienced with releasing records. So the first record to feature all 4 members was in 2003, Here Comes the Indian. During the mid-2000s, the band toured and released some of their most acclaimed albums in the 2000s. Deacon left the band for a few years following personal unrest, including the death of his father. So that's why he wasn't on that Dancy Manicky.
Dancy Manicky?
That green one that you just pulled up.
Oh, earlier? Okay, yeah.
COVID-19 halted their last album, Time Skiffs, and the album was delayed, but it came out in early 2022. Panda Bear has stated that their name was lame, Animal Collective. He stated, however, that the name was not about making decisions based on knowledge or reason. Put this in here just for you.
Really?
And that they wanted to work with music on an emotional level, not an intellectual one. And he noted that
This is
animals...
totally nerd music, bro. What you mean?
Not an intellectual one, and he noted that animals act on an instinctual level, so the name just kind of stuck in that context.
Whatever you say, bro.
Playlists were used to inspire them to write with artists. Playlists were used to inspire them to write with artists such as Pink Floyd, Portishead, Fleetwood Mac, Silver
All
Apples,
good. Wow.
13 Floor Elevators, and many others.
There it is. All good artists.
The band is often compared to the Beach Boys by critics. Lennox also expressed...
Wait, why?
Lennox... just their poppy nature and complex production.
I guess I saw it with the vocal layering.
And the harmonies, yeah.
Yeah.
The harmonizing.
Yeah.
So they're often compared to Beach Boys. Panda Bear also expressed his reverence for pet sounds. The album Painting With was recorded in the same studio Brian Wilson used for Pet Sounds and Smiles.
What? That's really cool, actually.
Yep. David Portner, A.V. Terror, his name comes from tearing apart the name Davy, which is his name, David Portner. He did vocals, guitar, synth, sequencers, keys, piano, bass, percussion, and auto harp. He is one of the 2 creative forces of the band, although I personally think they all have major contributions and styles in their own ways. Noah Lennox as Panda Bear. His name comes from the pandas he drew on tapes he made for his friends when he first started writing music. He did vocals, drums, percussion, sampler, synth, electronics, and guitar. He's the second of the 2 creative forces, I guess in my opinion, but it could be argued. Josh Dibb is Deacon. His name comes from letters he used to write to other members under the pseudonym Conrad Deacon. He played guitar, synth, vocals, keys, percussion, sequencer, sampler, drum machine, and bass, so I think he's the only one that ever played bass, but his solo stuff is my favorite stuff. And he has an album in my top 5 albums of all time.
What is it?
I'm not telling you. He only has one album.
You're stupid.
Brian Waits is Geologist. His name comes from the headlamp and a friend who once misheard what his college major was. He played sampler, electronics, mini disc, synth, piano, vocoder, hurdy-gurdy, and percussion. So they all played pretty much everything.
Hurdy-gurdy. See, there's the hurdy-gurdy that you didn't know was an instrument.
I think I did, actually. I just forgot over time. But The band is also known for their odd usage of time signatures that are highly uncommon, and not even just one time signature per song that's uncommon, but multiple songs.
See, that's thinking. That's mathy. That's thinking. They thought
No,
about
it's
that.
not. You don't think. You think I think when I'm making a song? No, it's the thinkers that come and say, "Oh, this is the time signature."
Dude, you don't just happen to make music in like 6:30.
What do you mean? Why not?
13th,
Yes, you haven't even made
7th.
music. You can't say.
Most things are just done.
Says who? Just because the way you
Almost
think
all
about
music
things doesn't
ever
mean
is
most
made
ways.
in like 4/4. You have to think to do it in like 13/7.
No, all you have to do is play something not in 4/4.
All right, bro. Whatever you say.
It's not that hard. I don't know why everybody uses 4/4, probably because everybody likes Radiohead, but
Radiohead doesn't even use 4/4 all the time. What are you talking about? They're like a nerd band. That exactly the type of thing that I'm
I
talking
know
about.
I'm just talking shit. But no, they are known for even multiple time signatures that are uncommon time signatures per song, not even just like one song for one time signature, but their music is highly evolutionary as it progresses through songs, albums, or decades. I've never heard a band who progresses and changes more throughout the decades, throughout their
It
albums.
sounds not that different from like Daily Routine, the song.
There's a reason for that.
Okay.
Well, not necessarily a reason, but definitely people agree with you on that, and I'll
Okay,
get into
okay.
that. But they have 11 studio albums, 2 visual albums, 9 live albums, and 12 EPs. Many of their projects are rare to find physical copies of and heard much less than their other stuff. They also have about 4 non-album singles, one with Black Dice. Do you remember the song at the beginning when we started this whole show? I was like, we should use this song for our intro, and it just sounded like garbage.
Yeah.
That was one of their singles.
Oh, really?
That they did with Black Dice. They also just remastered their first album. And that's it for
Okay,
artist. But I promise you, dude, these aren't who you think they are. Even if their stuff does sound art in any way, it is not thought out. It is just done. And I've seen them do it live. I've seen them literally do it live. I'm sure they rehearse, but I mean, they just start doing weird things and they connect with each other like better than most bands that I've seen. So
I'll take your word for
we're
it,
on the
bro.
other side of the spectrum. I would say Patrick Carney and Dan Auerbach connect with each other the least for most bands that I've seen. But
Oh.
Animal Collective is just really weird like that. But we'll get into the album and the single.
Jimmy, oh Jimmy Mack, when are you coming back?
The Painters is the 8th EP by the band. It was recorded in late 2016 and serves as a companion to their 2016 album Painting With. It was released on February 17th, 2017. It's classified as synth pop, psychedelic pop, neo psychedelia, and indie-tronica.
Yeah. I agree.
Reviews range from green to orange. A lot of different people think different things about the album.
Okay, it's controversial, one could say.
Not super, but more than albums we've been doing, yeah.
Okay.
Deacon did not participate in the album, as far as I know. Production work was all done by them with a little help from some friends.
I get by with a little from my friends.
Exactly. The cover, and then I describe it. I don't know why I describe it when we can just show it.
The cover.
But it's like 2 humanoid figures.
Oh, yeah, those are humanoids.
Yeah, it's like humanoid figures with a staircase in them, all different kinds of shapes
Yeah,
and
that thing looks sick.
geometric things going on.
I like this little blue tail.
Very
blue to
random,
teal tail.
stochastic type of. Yeah.
Oh, they're not exactly the same.
They're not?
No,
What's different?
like this.
Oh, even the
arches
eye
up more.
shape. Okay, so it
Yeah,
must have been done by
side
hand.
side, yeah. Really cool.
I thought they were exact copies, but
Yeah, look at that. I
Okay.
got an eye for things, huh? Yeah, it's a cool one.
yeah, that's the
It's
cover
very
of that.
eclectic. This fits like kind of Bonkers energy.
It does. As for the cover of Mountain Game, if you want to pull that up, it was slightly different styling or genre of
Yeah, I
visual
honestly
art.
don't like the. I don't think it looks good. I think it looks kind of dumb. Yeah, this I don't really care for. This looks super hipstery.
So this one kind of just another abstract design, but a lot more
Set in the real world.
tribalistic to me. I mean, it's got like wood carvings and wooden
I just see a
morph
bunch of
shapes.
dorks, like a bunch of like music nerds. Like this guy is totally a music nerd, bro. Look at this graphic T-shirt. This is like like this outfit.
Talk about
is
the
like
cliche judge a book by
the
its cover saying,
stereotypical,
but no,
like nerd,
no,
like
you don't know
geek
what you're
outfit.
talking
Like
about.
this guy reads Marvel comics. This guy totally wears the outfit of a Marvel comics
Whatever,
guy.
dude.
And he's got his face all covered up by this crazy glitched out.
If you want to believe that,
painting.
I guess you can. But
Maybe it's just because early 2010s fashion was trash.
well, this is like mid 2010s.
Well, then that's furthers my point.
I
This
mean,
guy is
it's
a
also
geek.
East Coast. I feel like East Coast fashion is equally trash. But but yeah, interesting in its own right. Definitely, I don't like it as much for sure. But I didn't even notice these 3 individuals sitting here until
What?
yeah, because you have like the photorealistic section, then you have all this cropped editing on top of like weird shapes and whatever. But anyways, that's all I
Kinda
have
bonkers.
for the album and the single, or
Kinda
the EP and the single. So we'll
bonkers.
get into the 5 songs that we have.
Life is so French toast to me. If you wait too long, it gets black and weak. If this fire that's good, but we can burn it all away for food. Paris for life.
Kind of bonkers. Kind of bonkers. A very chaotic track with Indian folk instruments that Aaron didn't know were Indian instruments.
No, I just don't agree that it's Indian instruments.
I'll bet you $50 right now that this is Indian instruments being used.
These are all electronic.
I know,
instruments.
but it's Indian, like the mom, 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 mom.
That's
like
a vocal
totally.
sample.
I know, but that's sang in an Indian style way. You have like that's plucky.
Style is not an instrument.
You have that plucky sound, that plucky instrument that is 100% Indian. The drumming, 100%. I'll bet you $50 right now.
Of that something sounds not Indian.
No, it is Indian. 100%. They're pulling samples from Indian music.
They made that was their own vocal sample.
I know, but it's sung in an Indian way. Bro, how are you being like this? How do you not make any correlation to the Indian?
Because it doesn't sound Indian.
Look, resulting in a piece of outreach raga rock. What is that? Rock or pop music with pronounced Indian influence.
That's
the
fine.
description
I'm
on
just
this
saying I
album.
don't get that.
Well, then you need to listen to more Indian music, I guess.
The only Indian
Or
music
don't,
I've
'cause
heard
it
is from the
sucks.
Beatles.
Just kidding.
And I'm not hearing any Beatles.
Well, I guess that makes sense then. I had a weird stint with Indian music in like 2013.
I mean, the sitar is cool, but
Yeah, it is very
there's
cool.
no sitar in this song. That's the only Indian thing ever.
No, there's not. But you were wrong to say that. Oh, their song has wild layering samples, or I guess they're not samples, just a lot of instruments that are layered. Pretty standard Animal Collective singing, except for that Indian Bollywood, not Bollywood, but you know what I mean, like kind of raga, Indian folk style, traditional Indian style singing. I wish the vocals were a bit more psychedelic rather than just sounding like, 26-year-old like white dudes that are just in an electronic band.
I mean, it's a pop band.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, that's fair. I like the singing of Kind of Bonkers. It's catchy and how choppy it is. It's like it just kind of abruptly ends and then abruptly starts again, rather than a smooth transition from saying one word into the next. A lot of the lyrics in the song are sang in a kind of non-predictable manner. A lot of the verses are started or ended in ways or at time signatures that you wouldn't expect, which is, I guess, what you were referencing earlier. I think it sounds cool. A very interesting track.
I don't know why you said or took back that it wasn't samples. Or said it wasn't samples.
Because you argued with me when I said it was Indian samples.
No, it's just samples of like their own voice,
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
just like looped. At least
Yeah.
that's my best guess. It just sounds like he was singing something and then he chopped it
First
up and
track?
sampled it.
First track, Kind of Bonkers, has been compared to predecessor's opener, Floridada. I don't know that song. It has
That's
been
a
noted
song
for
off their
donning a
other-
tribal pulse musically and lyrically,
Yeah,
resulting in a
I'd
piece of
definitely say it's like
outreach
some tribal
raga
stuff, but-
rock.
Yeah, but
Azrael 1, Aaron 0.
I just don't get Indian. I definitely get like some tribal, something tribal
there's Indian
to it,
instruments. I guess you just have to familiarize yourself with Indian instruments, or don't, because like I said, it's kind of bad.
Yeah, I've never had the desire really to, but
Dang.
and then Florida does like one of their singles off the album that it accompanies. But
Oh, really?
and that's again another tribalistic sounding song, but I said I like the off-kilter vocal loops, which as they immediately capture the feeling of the album and mesmerize me. Animal Collective operates with a wide range of vocal capabilities, and this album shares the early to mid 2010s vocals that they do, and I have grown way accustomed to. Love the drumming on this album too. Not even just the song; it's just, like sounds super boingy and like psychedelic, and
the psychedelic is coming from the Indian instrumentation.
yeah. But they definitely just did that. Just kidding. I guess it could be like an Indian sample, but I feel like they definitely just did that with a drum machine.
Probably a drum machine set to like an Indian to sound like an Indian drum.
Yeah, they just like produced it to sound Indian, but that's all I have.
Cool, dude. This here ditty,
Peacemaker.
This is a more washed out neo-psychedelia vibe track with a layered stacked call and response vocal that sounds really cool. I'm assuming they just sampled the vocals and played it at a delay to make it sound cool.
I mean, they do stuff like that.
Sounds
So
way sick. Sounds awesome over
That's,
layered.
good assumption to make.
Okay. It sounds awesome over a layered, pleasant wall of sounds, including a warbly synth happening in the background, a sitar, there's that Indian influence again, a phone beep, tribal drumming, and many other indescribable things going on. Gives me the same energy as Currents, and that is a compliment. The vocal work is incredible, almost as good as Beach Boys harmonies. It's Currents in the same way that it has a lot of intricate, detailed, layered sounds.
This detail's way better, though.
So much going on, almost that a lot of it's indescribable. It's cool. It's just like Currents.
Oh God, I don't know if I can get past that. I think this is the best song.
Dude, Tame Impala, Currents was like in your top 10 music of 2018.
Yeah, when balls hadn't dropped yet.
No,
I was still a little
you
baby.
used to like it. It's just you told yourself you can't like it anymore.
No, I really don't like it anymore.
It goes against your philosophy now.
I mean, music is an extension of like a personal identity. So, the best song on the album, I think, does more crazy vocal stuff. Every word as the drum kick hits while they span a vocal range. While they span a vocal range of notes, is a lethargic feeling. So like every time, you know how they hit like one word at a time. They like go across a bunch of different notes as they do that, which is super lethargic feeling, and the delay they put on it is awesome. The song is like the stages between conscious and unconsciousness as you're falling asleep to me. It's just an ethereal sounding song, and I think this is electronic music done right.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. It's my favorite song of the 5.
It is my favorite song on the album.
I see what you're getting at. Alright. This is when the Peacemaker has ended. Goalkeeper. EP nosedives after the last track with his bouncy, charmless pop track. High-pitched, happy-go-lucky, arcadey sounding synths. High-registered vocals that at time remind me of Disciples from Currents, the worst song on that album. I like the section where they all sing lines rapidly together. It happens about midway through the track, but that does not do enough to make this song not annoying, because it is.
I agree.
Oh.
I saw a comment saying that this song had the baseline aesthetic of a Seinfeld episode, which I can totally see, but it's not like overwhelmingly funky like the Seinfeld show.
Yeah, you're right.
Super subtle and awesome the way they mixed it all, though. I don't think that is enough to save it, though. It's pretty fast-paced, which immediately changes up the feeling of the album after the last 2 songs. It can be kind of off-putting as you adjust, but as you adjust, it turns into somewhat of an entertaining song. I feel like if you can just let go of the fact that you just heard 2 like way beautiful songs.
For
Not
real.
like beautiful, but like
I'd say the last song is pretty, for
impressive.
sure. Yeah, 100%.
And then that's all I have.
Okay, well that was surprising.
My arms are missing you. My lips feel the same way too.
There you go.
Jimmy Mack. Also a bit upbeat. Kind of sounds like a bad Daft Punk song. With some highlights that I'll get into. But to start, there's a super happy-go-lucky, bouncy, electronic, almost house-ish beat. Kind of has a bit of a tropical flair to it too, like Bahamas, like party music.
All right. I can see that.
Has like Daft Punky robot, like well. Did you hear that? Style vocals, flutes, which sound more tropical, not necessarily like a normal flute. Poppy drumming and happy high energy vocals that do sound really good when he's saying the "When are you coming back? And are you coming back?" But other than that, the song's
Middle of the road.
Yeah, I'd say middle of the road.
The song is a cover of a Motown song from 1967 by Martha and the Vandellas.
I bet it sounds nothing like that.
Vandellas. It doesn't.
Yeah, I bet.
That's why I respect it, honestly. It's quite emotional with the vocals, which sound a little bit out of context with the instrumentation, but it's crazy enough to still be a good song to me. The overdrive on the drumming is super subtle, but it's awesome too. If you notice,
I don't think I did notice
there's
that.
a little bit of like a crunch to the drumming. But yeah, that's all I have.
Mountain Game starts off with about a minute of like a folky ambience. That sounds nice. Before this rad EDM bass note starts to hit, boom, which sounds really cool. It happens a couple times, and then the song really starts. From this point on, washed out vocals begin, and high-pitched synths, electronic drums, and other layered quiet background noises occur. It repeats kind of over and over and over, with different layered complexities coming in and out with, every other time that it's repeated or whatever. Very sonically full song, which we all know I love that type of thing. I'd say sonically full also applies to all the other songs. Some for better, some are not as good. But I guess they would be even worse if they weren't so sonically layered. So
Yeah, this is the type of music I will agree that like the complexity adds.
oh
And
yeah.
I'm not just saying that because it's already good, but it's like when you make this type of music, it gets boring. Imagine if you just had the so like
yeah.
really adding stuff. But if you introduce like a guitar, if you're playing with a drum machine or a synth, then those are good ideas to like start layering stuff. But if you're layering like a sampler, like a whole bunch, it can start sounding a little muddy. But anyways, Mountain Game was a single released on November 16th, 2016, intended to be on the 2010 video game Red Dead Redemption soundtrack.
What?
The song
I
was
don't get that vibe at all.
The song was rejected, most likely due to its electronic nature.
Yeah.
There was once a time I considered Mountain Game to be Animal Collective's best song.
Wow.
It's quite beautiful with an acoustic intro and then a drum machine that's super bassy that comes in over the choir like oohs and ahs and humming, which really sounds super ethereal. The vocals are super gorgeous and reverby, and the lyrics are beautiful on top of that, and the song has made me cry on multiple occasions.
Wow.
I used to think this is definitely the most beautiful song that's on this episode today. And I do think that this is a beautiful song. Where you once said that this album wasn't necessarily beautiful, this song I do think is insanely beautiful.
Peacemaker to go.
I mean, there's songs that are more interesting, but this song is beautiful. This is like
Peacemaker.
Donovan Radiohead beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not saying Radiohead beautiful. I'm saying
No,
you
just
think
say it.
Radiohead's beautiful.
Just go with it.
This is like, to me, what Radiohead is to you.
Just say it's beautiful, bro.
And with that said,
first.
I will first say the one.
Sands.
Which one should I say first, with Mountain Game or without?
With, because that's unofficial.
All right. 210.
I was right.
No, you said like 170.
My math was right, but I was too chicken to go that far, you know.
Okay.
But my math was almost exactly that. It was like 201, so I think I gave a +3 to the wrong song, but I did assume there would be a +3. I thought it'd be track one.
Mountain Game is a +3. For the actual album, a 173, which is my highest rated this season.
I was almost. Yeah, but it's hard because that's the problem with things with short. That's why I was concerned about adding EPs to my album score slides, because like it's so much easier to just like drop 3 good songs than make a whole album of good songs with like, you know.
That's true. Just when you go through your slides, just consider that. Okay, well, this is an EP.
I know, but it's numbered based on the number of slides, so I can't. I'd have to like
Add or
start
subtract based
subtracting.
on. But then once you have a bunch of EPs, I don't know, you could add a separate EP list like Rate Your Music has.
Considering that.
But for me, I mean, this is too good of an EP not to do. And while I do think a lot of Animal Collective's stuff does stand up here on the 170s hill, this one was short. I like 2 songs a lot. Kind of Bonkers and Peacemaker. That's a 2 and then a 3, and then the rest are 1s.
Whoa! Wow. Okay. Oh, I didn't think you'd give 2 1s. Okay.
2 1s.
Yeah. Why is it nosedive in the second half so hard? It's like a huge drop off.
I don't think we're getting it. Because I know people who get it. Like Logan loves Goalkeeper.
Logan. Exactly.
Yeah, he likes a lot of crazy music, but he's a crazy guy. So it makes sense. So I got a 2, a 3, a 1, and a 1.
I've got
A -5. I'm just kidding.
no 48 for the official one, which I wasn't supposed to do first. 63. I could see Peacemaker coming lovable soon, but for now, I like most of it, except for those 2. So I like the songs that you love. Not that controversial. I thought that you'd really like 3 and 4, and that we were gonna have a dispute.
No.
But no, those are stinkers.
I don't necessarily think they're stinkers.
Is the best.
Like when they come on, sometimes I'll play them. Sometimes
Mountain Game's
I'll
really
skip
good
them,
too, though. I haven't talked about it much, but that is really good as well. Kind of Bonkers there's more to talk about because it's so.
I mean, they are a lot
crazy.
more interesting songs.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly why, but
yeah,
definitely
So
think
long.
that they
kind of Bonkers.
should have been on Animal Collective's regular discography. I don't know why they were like, "Yo, we're just gonna drop these 2 like on an EP." Well, I guess they gotta have their EP with something good on it, but
Right.
I don't know. EPs are weird,
Yeah, it is kind of difficult to
but
work around.
I like this a lot, so I would definitely get it on vinyl before
Me too,
maybe any
definitely
other
vinyl.
Animal Collective album. No, that's not true. I already have an Animal Collective album.
Which one?
Sung Tongs.
I've actually.
Oh, why didn't I mention this? Oh, it's in my final thoughts. So let's get to that. Yeah, I've always said that I like all their solo stuff better than their work together. I always say people always make music better when they're solo. And I almost agree with that. I think A.V. Terror's solo stuff, I think Panda Bear's solo stuff, and Deacon's solo stuff, all way good. And I think better than a lot of even Animal Collective's stuff together. But I saw a few reviews and comments that say that this album has a Sung Tong-esque sound, but filtered through... It was actually a Rate Your Music review, filtered through Post Pavilion Merriweather.
Oh.
Or Merriweather Post Pavilion, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So it does kind of remind me of those 2 albums, which I think Sung Tongs is Animal Collective's best album by far. And it's one of the albums that, you remember a while ago when we first did Radiohead, I was like, here's 5 albums that are more beautiful.
Yeah.
Sung Tongs was one of them.
Sung Tongs?
A Gift from a Flower to a Garden might have been one of them too.
This fool.
I can't remember though. But this album sounds a lot different than Sung Tongs, even though that comment says it kind of sounds the same.
What is Sung Tong's affinities that you'd give it or descriptions?
I don't know.
Oh, cool.
That's all I have.
Here or there.
Do I recommend it? probably I wouldn't really recommend Animal Collective to a lot of people, even though they are pretty highly regarded. So I don't know.
I don't recommend it because the bottom 2 songs are not good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend it, but I love the album, but I guess I don't recommend it. So
Fair enough. That is valid.
we will end on that.
Just listen to Seagirl from the last episode.
Listen to Sung
I'm
Tongs.
serious. Y'all need to listen to that song.